Hey everybody, you join me next to a cabbage field. Okay, that's a lie. I don't know if that's a cabbage field. I don't know what they're growing there, but I do know that I have a Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE on loan from Triumph still. In the last video, which was the first ride, I basically took this down a green lane, just did a bit of a ride around to see how I found it. Nothing too serious as far as the off-road was concerned. And in this video, I need to go on a motorway and I need to go into a city. So this seems like a good motorway sort of city test, maybe. It depends what the traffic's like. But at least we'll have a good idea of what it's like on a motorway. Because as I've mentioned in the previous video, okay, it's not the same as the old school bike that does absolutely everything for you. And it depends on where you take it as to what it does. Because, I mean, look at this thing. It's got spoked tubeless rims. It's got, all the electronic packages on it with the smart traction control for off-roading and stuff like that. This is definitely a modern bike in a classic-ish style. But for me, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you'll know I've been trying to work out a bike that's like my Supermoto. I have a DRZ 400 SM, and also as good for covering miles as my Yamaha XJ6. I need something that's like a combination of the two, but not so big and heavy that it ruins the Supermoto side of it. And because I'm a big guy at 6'4", this giant bike, which is just a giant dirt bike really, feels much more like the thing that I maybe would have. This doesn't feel anything like a GS 1200 or one of those, or even a V-Strom, or even the Tigers, the big fairinged up bikes. And that's really good. Apart from one place. That's where we're going now, the motorway. Supermotos are rubbish on the motorway. One, because there's no wind protection, but that's very much secondary thing. It's because they don't have the... Well, if you have a 400 like mine, it doesn't like motorway speeds. Maybe a KTM 690, something like that. Which the seating position of this and the handlebars actually really kind of reminds me of, in a way. But yeah, this bike's definitely going to do the 70 mile an hour, but I do wonder how bad's the wind going to be. Without all the extra fairings that you get like on the Tigers and stuff like that. Am I going the right way? I am. Okay, so we're doing 70 mile an hour in 6th gear, and we're just under 4,000 RPM. This bike is eating this, it's so easy for it, but as you can tell probably, it's windy as hell. In fact, I don't even want 6th for that, I want 4th. So the riding position is very similar to like a Supermoto, and one of the things I got with mine was that because you're getting a lot of wind on you, and you have to hold yourself on. I used to get hip pain, or I still get hip pain, I've just not ridden the bike long enough to remember that well. It's because it's been worked on. If you want to see the series, go and watch the series. Anyway, I'm not getting that too much with this. That feeling of needing to like rock my pelvis forward to make sure that because I'm being like curled back by the wind. I mean, I do feel the wind on my chest, and I'm feeling it on my face, and I'm feeling it on my legs, and I'm feeling it pretty much everywhere. This has got no tank scoops on it to try and deflect the wind into a radiator or anything like that. That would be interesting. What would this thing look like with tank scoops, like a Supermoto tank scoops? Oh. It probably doesn't surprise. Oh my god, I'm going to get off this motorway and we'll keep talking. Fucking hell. What the hell was that? Whoa, that's a stretched out chopper. I've not seen anything like that for a very long time. Okay, that few miles has definitely taught me a few things. Wind protection matters. On this thing, it has absolutely no problems doing the miles, like sitting there at 70, 75, just cruising so comfortably. Absolutely gorgeous, with tons of extra power there if you needed to, to overtake and stuff like that. The problem is you are actually holding on because there is so much wind resistance from just having, this little bodywork, which... I mean, yeah, it's something you can get used to, but if you're wanting to actually do long distance touring, hour upon hour upon hour of that would get tiring. if you're going to do hours and hours and hours of it, you definitely want to be getting something like the Tigers with a bit of fairing that, you know, because what you're doing basically when you're getting battered by the wind is holding on, and the whole time your core muscles are going, your arm muscles are going, and it just, well, also it makes you a lot colder. It's just a lot less tiring. And if you're doing distance, you don't want tiring. So yeah, if you do motorway miles, you know, a few miles a day, absolutely no problem, it'll eat it up. If well, it's a 1200, of course it's going to. However, as I say, if you're looking at doing, you know, 15-20 miles of that a day, unless you've got some really good like textiles that stop all the wind getting through or something like that, it's going to be unpleasant in the winter, especially in rain and stuff like that. That's, you know, maybe I'm getting older in places, because I do like the Supermoto dirt bikey style. There's a bath. But I like it at Supermoto dirt bikey speeds. When you start trying to do, you know, 70 and continuous 70 and stuff like that, it gets not so good. There's just dodgy looking things around here being dumped. Oh! I wasn't expecting that. That was a combination of big bumps, little bumps, jarring, not jarring. I could actually have a play with the suspension on this one, because it's just got twisters on it. What have they done down here? Because this was closed off for ages. Oh, they have had a move around. Okay, let's do some slow control. Yep. It's the assisted clutch that all Triumphs have got that are not is easy to use, relatively predictable. Got a little bit of getting used to, because it doesn't feel entirely like it comes in the same time every time. Well, it does, but it's also, actually no, it's probably more to do with the throttle. Just varying its delivery. Sometimes you feel like you've got to give a little bit extra just to get that bit of power, but then it gives you a little bit more than you were hoping for, and it goes through. But if you smooth it out, maneuverability on this is actually, you know, relatively easy. I mean, turning the road. You know? Obviously that's like the third turn in the road attempt I've done on this bike, so it's not too bad in comparison. I will say there is quite an amount of heat coming off this bike right now, and the exhaust under my right leg, which I'll get to in the review, because I actually don't think it's an issue at all. But I have, like, with the petrol station, I was like, wow, my leg's warm. Oh, it's sat in the exhaust. So I'm going to use it, you know, more, and just find out how often it comes in. But I've not burnt myself or anything like that. And when I was stationary, oh, it's so nice to be warmed up by it. Maybe in the summer I'd be complaining about that, but right now, nah. Do have to remember, this is quite a long boy. It's kind of deceiving the way that the bike looks, because it's in proportions, but it's kind of like scaled up. So you look at it and you think it's one size, but actually when you look how much bike's in front of me and how much bike is behind me, there's quite a lot there. Can we not put our feet down? Is it possible? Oh, look, I'm not going to touch the throttle, but as I let go of the clutch, is this going to pull away for me? No, I'm not going to do it right now in the middle of traffic, but it feels like it's going to pull away for me. Unfortunately, this is the sort of traffic that I can't actually filter through because there's nowhere to go. See that? It does get a lot of looks, this bike. It's really, I think it's because Triumph is really nailing it with some like classic looks. Eye catchers. Something a bit different. Or the fact that it's something a bit different because it's a bit familiar and a bit new. Bit old, bit new. Bit of everything. As I mentioned, slip-assisted clutch. Notice how that did not lock up the rear. That definitely should have done. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I. Well, yeah, this is. As I say, because it's a thin boy, but it is a long boy. This isn't an issue getting it through here. It's just nice. It's just so pleasant and rideable. You know, for around town, like compared to a GS or something like that, this is so much better. But then I do wonder at the same time, why have a 1200cc giant bike like this that's capable of doing long miles if really what you're going to do with it is slower speed stuff, because you're just going to get battered by the wind. That's why, I mean, it is very much just, you know, like Tiger 1200 without the fairing. They're all going to be based around the same sort of thing, but it does make you wonder, like, what was the intention so much? Like, oh, he's looking at trees. I wonder what he was looking at, but he's looking at the trees. You look after those trees, my man. So this is the thing with this thing, it's quite leery. You can chuck it around a bit. Thank you, slipper clutch. That smooths it out so much. If you didn't have that, it would lock up, and it wouldn't have the same sort of like on a supermoto. Yes, this is how you back into a corner. You come into the corner hard on the front brakes, slamming down through the gears, and the rear wheel's going to lock up a bit, and then you know it slows. You sort of drift around it a little bit. On this, it's just smooths it out into no locking, so you can just hammer on the front brakes, dump it through the box, and it comes to a pretty abrupt stop. Knowing that predictability of it, like how much is it going to slow down in the distance, so you don't need to put excess front brake on. Sorry, I don't know, something on top of one of the things, I don't know what it was. That's the little thing you've got to learn. If you're relatively new to my channel, you might not know how my chickens, sorry, not how my chickens, how my review system sort of works. I do a first ride. That tells me, you know, the instant emotional reactions of the bike, and it lets me know the sort of things I want to test, which is why this video, my second video, because I've already done the first ride, is testing it on a motorway, because I just wanted to get that out the way, you know, okay, on a motorway, what's it like? And as I thought, it's good, but it's windy. And for me, that just means, well, if I was going to use this a lot on the motorway, I wouldn't go for this. I would go for a Tiger or something like that with a bit of fairing. It makes so much difference, especially in the winter and the wet in England. Maybe if it was in the summer, if it was always summer here and it was always warm, then yeah, maybe that actually might be quite nice about this, to just be cruising through those country roads. But you know, it's a big 1200 off-road capable bike that can also do distance and stuff like that, so it's kind of like working out its niche. Anyway, this all culminates in a review at the end, before the bike goes back to Triumph or whoever's lent me the bike, and in that I bring all my thoughts and feelings together, all the little bits and pieces I've been testing over this whole time. Now, there's a couple of little things on this that I'm testing now that I'm not mentioning, because I want to know if they're an issue or not by the time in the end of the week. So if you want to see everything I do with this bike, you will need to click that subscribe button, and I would appreciate it if you did. I'm on my way to 100k, and then you can be kept up to date with the videos I'm making on it. If you want to hit the like button, I would very much appreciate that too, and if you want to help support this channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. As you know, being a YouTuber, I'm certainly not earning a huge amount of dosh, and although I do get some very lucky situations where, like with this, I just get to have a bike to have fun on, unfortunately that doesn't help me pay the bills or buy the equipment or buy food or anything like that. That's what Patreon's for. If you want to do that, as I say, links in the description below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.